Even, take yourself off the screen, if you will, if you want to. You don't have to, but it's a free country, so you're welcome to do whatever you want.
All right, Joey, thank you so much. And I do a lot of things multitasking.
Even, take yourself off the screen, if you will.
That was just my YouTube of you talking coming up in there. I was like, why is Joey keep talking? Am I muted? No, it was because the YouTube stream started and there's just a little slight delay when you go live on YouTube. So the YouTube stream is going. Thank you so much, Joey, for helping with that introduction. Julia, my intern, is joining by phone today. I think she's traveling. So I'm going to grab the link real quick and drop it into chat. And then we'll try to grab the playlist and drop that in there for you guys in a little bit as well. Thank you, Joey, for helping me because this part is a little tricky, especially if I haven't gone live on YouTube for a few days. Sometimes it does the password reset and all this rigmarole stuff. And I always find it's better to have a co-host helping me with that part. So I want to welcome all of you. If you're joining us for the first time, could you do me a favor, go into chat and put the words first time. I'm going to call on maybe a few of you to do a brief introduction of yourself. And while you are doing that, I'm also going to invite others to go into the Zoom and to introduce themselves. Now, if you are a job seeker in career transition, here's what I want you to do. And I really want you to practice this and get in the habit of doing this every single time you have the opportunity to introduce yourself in a virtual event. And I want you to be succinct with this. That's really important. We don't need to hear your life story, not yet. Right now, we just need to know, what is your targeted job title? Give us 1 or 2 job titles you're looking for. What is your targeted geographic area? Okay, where in the world are you located? Because if you're interested in a graphics designer position in Texas and I'm in Metro Detroit, I should know that because I don't want to send you Metro Detroit opportunities, right? And then also do please put your LinkedIn URL. Make sure that it has the full HTTPS as a part of it. That way it's blue and it's clickable and people can invite you to connect as we're on the call, okay? Now I'm gonna let all of you know, I do tend to talk fast, but the chat will be downloadable. So if you wanna download the chat, what I would do is at the end of the call, go to the bottom of chat, and I'll remind you at the end of the call how to do this again. You can try it right now if you want, where it says to everyone. You'll see a couple little icons underneath that. If you click on the 3 dots at the bottom of your chat where it says to everyone, you should see an option that says save chat, okay? And as soon as you do that, my computer says show in folder and it shows me like the downloads folder where it's saving in. Now, I will remind you again at the end of the call if you want to do that. That way, if you're not fast with technology, if I'm going a little bit too fast here, if you want to just watch the Zoom call, I would encourage you just watch the Zoom call. Okay. If you are comfortable inviting people to connect, I would highly recommend that you click and visit their profiles while we're in the call here today. And then when you go to their profile, let me just demonstrate this up on screen. I'm going to pull over Beth up on screen. I hope you don't mind, Beth. You have no choice in the matter because I'm in control of the screen. But I just clicked on Beth's URL that was placed into chat. It took me to her profile. Now, from the desktop version of LinkedIn, you want to be on their profile. If you see the connect button, you click on that. If Beth's button said follow instead of connect, then what I'd want to do is click on the more button. Okay. By the way, mine is one of the profiles that if you click to visit my profile and we're not connected yet, you'll see follow instead of connect. To connect with me, you'll have to click on my more button. And then from your view of that, when you click on more, you'll see an option that will either say personalized invite or connect. And that's how you get the option to do what I'm going to do right now. When I click on connect, it says your invitation is almost on the way. You can add a note to personalize. And it looks like Zoom wants you to click on send. But what I would encourage you to do is always add a note. And then you get up to, I'm hearing 200 to 300 characters. They might be reducing this right now, but it really shouldn't take too many characters to say what I'm saying. So I'm just going to say, hi, Beth. We were both on, and I'm going to put this in chat. VIP LinkedIn call today. Let's connect on LinkedIn. I'm using a text expander and I'm starting to put the trademark everywhere. That's why it keeps popping up. But I'm going to copy this part and put this into the chat. That way, if you want to practice this and just, you don't have to type it in, you can just copy and paste as you're inviting people to connect. You'll have the opportunity to do so. We are going to have a pretty lively chat in the next hour, and I would highly encourage you to build your network and surround yourself with other job seekers like yourself. Now, if you are just joining us for the first time, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself. I'm going to maybe call in maybe 2 or 3 of you to do a brief introduction. And what I'm going to ask you to tell us is your targeted job title, your targeted geographic area, and how did you hear about the call? Okay, if you start to tell us your life story, I'm going to jump in and I'm going to remind you. Targeted job title, targeted geographic area, and how did you hear about the call? It's not that I'm uncaring. I do care about you. And for many of you joining us for the first time, you're in career transition. I know it's devastating and it's a very emotional process, but we are here to help you today. And I want to make sure that we allow adequate time to do questions, share resources. I'll have my all-stars helping to answer some questions as well. Okay. So with that said, let's see who is in the chat who said that they are first time. And I'm going to call on just a few of you. I'll give you the option. If you don't want to, you can say pass or just don't unmute yourself. Rhonda Nelson. Rhonda, would you like to unmute yourself and introduce yourself to the group?
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me?
I can, Rhonda. How are you today?
Great, I'm good. So my name is Rhonda Nelson, and I am in search of a VP of marketing job, and I live in California.
Wonderful.
And I heard about it on LinkedIn.
Heard about it on LinkedIn. Well, wonderful to have you here today. Rhonda, are you behind a window or is that a light that's flashing towards us?
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Okay, and this is I love when things like that happen, Rhonda, because it gives me the opportunity to kind of remind people about lighting and backgrounds and things like that. And anytime we have these situations, we always if you want to turn on your camera right now, we can give you some pointers on these things. But when we do this, we give everyone the opportunity to make some camera adjustments, which in turn are actually going to help you when you're interviewing for jobs, because we will tell you, we'll give you feedback on camera setup and things like that. One technique I always try to use is when I'm answering questions, I try to look at the camera as much as possible. I'm tapping my camera as I'm doing that. When you're asking me a question, I'm looking down, but when I'm responding, I'm looking at the camera. And that's a technique I would highly encourage you all to do as you're moving through the interview process. So Rhonda, thank you so much. We're glad that you found us here today, and we welcome you to drop your introduction into chat. All right, next up, I see Miranda Peters. Miranda, would you like to introduce yourself? I'll give her a second.
Hi, yes.
There you go, Miranda. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Can I actually go next? Would that be okay? Sorry.
Sure. Yep. We'll go somebody and then we'll go you next. And if you're in the car and you can't do this, Miranda, we'll skip you today. All right. Let's move on to.
I'll be okay.
Did you want to go, Miranda?
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
Yeah, I would still like to, but after the next person will be great.
Okay. All right. We'll go one more person and then back
Thank
to
you.
Miranda. All right. Thanks. Jackie Brookstein. Jackie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, my name is Jackie Brookstein, and I am seeking a career in customer success. I'm a former small business owner in New York City, and COVID hit. I'm now located in Philadelphia, but am open to anywhere in the Northeast, very flexible with anything that I can get to.
All right. And how did you hear about us, Jackie?
I've actually been working on my networking, and I connected with a gentleman who recommended you highly, and I clicked and saw the meeting and clicked in.
Wonderful. Well, we're glad that you found us, Jackie, and we welcome you, and make sure you drop your introduction into chat. We're going to go back to, now I'm blanking on the name. I do apologize. The woman who was just on, was it Miranda? If I remember correctly? Miranda. Yes. Are you ready to go?
Yes. Yeah. I think so.
Okay, Miranda,
Yes.
So what we're looking for is if you could tell us,
sorry
what
about
is your
that.
targeted job title, your targeted geographic area, and how did you hear about the call?
So my targeted job title is digital. Okay, quiet. Sorry, that's my dog. Digital graphic designer or web designer. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm looking for remote hybrid, and I'm open to like relocation too. And I found out about this call through Together Digital that I'm a member in.
Good. I was so glad that you said Together Digital, because just as you were talking, I was thinking you're in Cleveland, you need to connect with Megan Voges, and then they've got a chapter for Together Digital. So I'm so glad that you heard about that from
Yeah.
us, and welcome to the group here today. All right.
Thank you.
All
Sorry
right,
about
we're
my
going to
dog.
keep us moving along here, and I'm going to ask the all-stars, those folks that are going to be helping me out with Q&A today, to please raise your hand. I see Joey, I see Mindy. I don't know if there are others that are on the call. Thank you. So if you could please raise your hand, and then I'll call on you in that order. Keep your hand raised if you could, because that keeps you up to the top of the view. Joey, do you want to do questions too? If so, raise your hand if you could. That helps to keep you up in my gallery view at the top, so we can keep you up there. All right, so we're going to go in this order today. I'm going to ask Linda to introduce herself, followed by Mindy, followed by Joey, and then it will be back to me. So Linda, the floor is yours.
Thanks. Nice to be the first, because that way I don't have to remember my order. Hi, everybody. I'm Linda Brubaker, and I'm a job search coach, and I help people to discover and showcase their transferable skills to find those next forever jobs. I'm excited to see you all here, even though I know you don't want to be here. Happy to answer any questions that I can. Next, Mindy.
Hello and welcome. I'm so happy to see you all here today. I know you'd rather be at work, but this is a great place to get started. I've been part of Brenda's calls for a long time, and I also host a wonderful group, a community of job seekers called the Accelerators, and we meet monthly, the first Wednesday of every month. Next month in November, we are honored to have Sue Griffey come talk to us about how to excavate your evidence. And so for every job seeker who has ever been told from career coaches like myself and Linda, we need data to show what you've accomplished. We can't just say you were the best salesperson in the world. We need to have some data. Sue Griffey is an expert at showing us and telling us how to create that data. So I'm going to put the link to our call in the chat, and you're welcome to register. It's free. It's a Zoom call live, and love to see you there and answer any questions you may have. Thank you. Over to you, Joey.
Thank you, Mindy. Good morning, all. Again, Joey Himmelfarb. I am an author, speaker, sometimes a coach, depending on the hour of the day and the day of the week. I'm a true blue New Yorker, born and bred, born in Brooklyn, raised in Yonkers, went to school in Buffalo. My mantra is positive beats negative every day, and I'm on these calls to help you remain positive as much as you possibly can. If I hear you going, I will usually just sit back and remain silent, but if I hear you going down a rat hole and heading down to the world of negativity and darkness, I will pipe in and try to bring you back. So again, welcome. Sorry you don't want to be here. No, you don't want to be here, but we're glad you're here nonetheless. Thanks.
I love that point, Joey. And I want to just kind of speak to that for a second. You know, there are many of you that are joining us for the first time here today because you have recently been, and there's all these fancy corporate terms, downsized, let go, part of a restructuring. There's all these fancy corporate terms, and you know, it's not a good place that you're in right now. And I totally know that. I've been in your situation a few times in my career. And after the last time as I was looking for a job, I started getting approached by people. Hey, since you have some time, can you help us with marketing strategy? Can you help us with social media? Can you help me with LinkedIn? And I started to go, maybe I'm not going to look for a job anymore. Maybe I'm going to create a role for myself and my company, Meller Marketing. And my last restructuring, so to speak, led me to being here for all of you today. So I'm a big believer that everything happens for a reason. I love Joey's sentiment on, you know, staying away from the negativity, but sometimes you need to vent because you're on an emotional roller coaster right now. When you're in career transition, you're going from one day being part of a team, right? Like you were doing the things and working late and sometimes checking emails on weekends and vacations and doing all the stuff. And then one day you got that very awkward, come meet me in the HR office or jump on a Zoom call later in the day on a Thursday or Friday. It's later in the week, never on a Monday, right? Or, you know, a phone call from the boss or from HR or somebody, and then they're told you that they're doing some restructuring, the company isn't doing well, and your position has been eliminated. And it's nothing personal. You know, sometimes they think, well, it's personal. It's personal to me. This affects my life, my livelihood, right? And a lot of us, our identity is kind of wrapped around what we do. And all of a sudden that rug is pulled out from under us. And they really don't tell you what to do next, right? And I want to share with you, I did pop in some resources into chat for myself, and we did create a do this now checklist for those of you who are in career transition. And maybe you're on this call because you are currently in career transition. Maybe you're on this call because you're worried that your company might be going through some restructuring in the near future. Wherever you are, I would highly recommend downloading this checklist, and we give you some instructions on what to do next after you've been laid off. Things like, and I want to make sure you understand this is general guidance. This is not legal advice, but things like do not sign off on a separation agreement until you've had an attorney look through it, even if they say you need to sign this before you leave. Do not sign off on it until you've had an attorney review it. Okay. Other things like make sure that your email is updated on your LinkedIn account with your personal email so that you can still get into your account, right? So we go through a variety of different things, and I've got expert advice from people like Mindy and Kenneth Lang and Sue Griffey, Christopher Johnson, and others, and even job seekers have contributed to that. So I highly recommend that you check out that as a resource. And I do want you to know it's okay if you are feeling like you're on an emotional roller coaster. But I also don't want to I want to make sure that you don't feel like you are alone in this. And that's part of the reason we created this awesome VIP job seeking community. We used to meet weekly, but now we're meeting monthly, and we are meeting the first Friday of every month from 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern. That's the call that you're on right now. Maybe you're watching the playback of this. But if you go to mellermarketing.com/Friday VIP, you can register to join us for future calls. So here's what we are going to do. We're going to answer your questions today. So if you do have any questions about your job search, this could be questions about the ATS, that applicant tracking system thing we hear about. It can be questions about your resume. It can be questions that you might be facing as an experience-rich job seeker. I don't like to say age X plus. I like to say experience rich. That's my term, right? Or maybe you have questions about interviewing, questions about negotiating, questions about finding opportunities or building your network. Maybe you've never had to do a job search before, and here you are 10, 20, 30 years into your career and having to start a job search. So whatever questions you have, I want to encourage you to drop those into chat and make sure that you put the word question in all caps first, and then type out your question. And the reason I want you to do that is that even if we don't get through all of your questions today, people will be able to respond to you inside chat. Okay, so that's the first thing we're going to do is some questions. If you have a success story to share, we'd like to hear that from you as well. A success story could be, hey, Brenda, I got a job. This is my last call with you. See ya. And by the way, that's our goal, is to not see you on these calls, not because we don't like you, not because we don't want to provide the community for all of you, but instead because we want you to be back to work. That is our goal, to be here to support you. But we also want you to have a place that you can come to in the meantime. Okay. So if you have any questions, drop those into chat. Make sure that you type in question in all caps, followed by the question itself. If you have a success story, just put the word success in all caps. I'm scrolling through chat to see if anything's coming in. And I also want to encourage you, don't be shy. This is your time. If you don't have any specific job search questions, but maybe you'd like some feedback on your LinkedIn profile, type in question. Can you provide me LinkedIn feedback or something to that effect? Question, can you look at my LinkedIn profile? Whatever it is. We will pull up as many people as we can, and we'll try to keep this moving along to help as many people as we can in the call here today. All right, so I see we've got 2 questions in here. So Andy says, how can I diversify and add other LinkedIn profiles to my feed? Andy, are you able to unmute yourself? Could we clarify what you're looking for here a bit?
I'm here.
All right. Hey, Andy, how are you today?
Great, thank you. How are you?
Good. So can you clarify a little bit on what you're looking for?
I keep getting things on my feed, like from coaches or from all kinds of coaches and people who want to help other people increase their leads, whether they're in self-business or whatever, but I'm not getting people from my industry or from my area, and I would like to see more of those. And I
Awesome.
just,
Andy, would it be okay with you if I pulled your profile up on screen as I'm
sure,
giving
it'd
you
be
some feedback?
wonderful.
Okay, and Andy, could you let me just share my screen here, and then I'm going to go into LinkedIn. Andy, what's your last name?
My profile is Andy Grid. My last name is Gridinsky, Grid, as in Delta, INSKY.
Okay, so I'm going to pull you up on screen right now. So you're saying the most common thing that you're getting when people are reaching out to you is salespeople trying to sell to you. It sounds
Well,
like.
when I go on the feed and scroll down and just see what people are saying, most
Yeah.
of the connections are coaches. It seems like maybe when I first signed on LinkedIn, I just clicked likes to a lot of coaches, and the algorithm just keeps spinning that.
Okay, so let
my
me
impression.
clarify then. Are you talking about what you're seeing in the homepage feed, or who is inviting you to connect, or is it both?
No, what I'm seeing in the feed.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to give you some advice, and I'll ask if any of the other all-stars want to offer advice. Please raise your hand and you guys will go next. So I want you to know that the algorithm is a living, breathing thing, and it changes all the time based on the activities that you're doing. So when you go into the homepage feed, let's say you see posts from people like Laura. If you engage with a post, meaning giving it a like, comment, reposting it, whatever, that's telling the algorithm, hey, I want to continue to see stuff from Laura. Now,
Okay.
as you scroll down, maybe you'll see things from, Amy, and I don't want to do this to Amy because I know her and I want to keep seeing her stuff. But let me just see Iris, for example. I don't know who she is. Maybe her topics aren't of interest to me, so that's maybe what you're referring to. If you
Okay.
click on the three dots, you can do a couple things to reduce content from that person coming up. You can say, I don't want to see this, and LinkedIn will stop showing you this particular post. Or you can unfollow that person. If you unfollow, you'll stop seeing their posts in your homepage feed. So that's one technique, is what they are already
Okay.
serving up
That's
to you,
great.
you can
If
unfollow.
if I unfollow them, do they still stay a connection?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's excellent advice.
Yeah. So they still say a connection, but you're not going to see their posts in the homepage feed anymore.
Okay.
Now, the other thing that you could do is if you want to actively see more posts from a specific person and you're not already, make sure that you're connected with them already on LinkedIn. When you go to their profile, I'm going to hover over the bell. The hollow bell means I'm going to see your top performing posts. The filled in bell means I'm going to see all of your posts. And I say all of those posts with a caveat, because you see a lot of posts that are coming up in your feed, but you'll also get notified when that person posts again. So let me just go into mine and see if I can find any of these right now. So for example, Mary Fain Brand, and I'm following Mary. She's a great person. I'm going to drop her URL into the chat right now, but I clicked on Mary's bell. Let me just show you this here. I clicked on her bell. So I have the solid bell showing on her profile. That means when she does a new post, I'll get a notification about it. And I should also be seeing it in the homepage feed. But that's one way of telling LinkedIn, here are the people I want to see more of. You can go to their profile, click on the bell notification. The other thing you can do is go down to their activity feed and find a recent post that they have done and add a thoughtful comment to that, maybe like 8 or more words in here. And, I'm just going to quickly say, sounds like, I have to typo that. Sounds like a great giveaway. It's really hard to type and talk at the same time. Adding a comment to help spread the word. So that by adding a thoughtful comment, it also tells the algorithm, Mary is somebody that I want to see more regularly in my homepage feed. So again, Andy, there's two techniques that I just showed you here. One is opting out of content in the homepage feed by either marking, I don't want to see this, or unfollow. And the other is going to the person's profile.
1 second, please.
Oh, no problem.
Okay, Andy, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you fine. That's excellent advice. Thank you so much for that. I didn't know that. Unfortunately, I do have to drop. I had a 10:30, but I really wanted to attend your
All right. Well, thank
Zoom
you for
call.
joining us, Andy. We're going to keep
Have a
us
great
going along. I'm
weekend.
hearing a little bit of background noise too. So I'm just going to remind everybody, if you could please mute yourself, just in the interest. We've got a pretty large group here today. So just make sure that you're muted if you could. If you're not responding to questions, that helps to keep the background noise down to a minimum. All right. So thank you so much for that, Andy. I'm going to go back up to the top of chat. I see a couple more questions that are coming
Thanks a lot.
in here.
Bye-bye.
And let's see here. Click on participants real quick. I'm going to do a quick mute all because I'm still hearing a little bit of background noise on here. You will be able to unmute when I call on you for questions, though. Okay, so let's see here. I wish Julia was on. She always does a really good job of helping me with this. All right, Philippe, are there headhunters for executive roles anymore? Looking for HR placement services? I'm going to see if any of our 3 all-stars, Joey, Linda, or Mindy would like to take this. Are there headhunters for executive roles anymore? Linda, do you want to go first? Linda, you'll need to unmute. I get to hold up my fun.
There we
little
go.
clicker.
Thank
There
you.
we
I
go.
appreciate that. Okay, there are a couple, but remember that executive recruiters don't work for you, they work for the company. So the best way to contact them is to find a job either on their website or when they're advertising that really looks like it's a good fit, and then contact them that way. If you're in the HR area, check out Arlington Resources. They're a great firm. All they really do is that, or at least they used to, all that they've done is that HR talent assessment kind of work. Great people to work with. So check them out.
Thank you, Linda. And was there anyone else who wanted to respond to that? I thought I saw another hand go up, but I could be mistaken. Julia, did you want to add to that or something different?
Yeah, I didn't understand the question. Is the gentleman looking for recruiters who specifically place HR people?
I believe so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you want to message me in the chat, I can help you with that. I'm a recruiter.
Good to know, Julia. So I want to, kind of clarify in this term too. He's saying headhunters looking for executive HR roles. And to Linda's point, the recruiters are working for the companies that they are placing in positions. They are not, and I don't know that these people are out there necessarily. They're not working for you. They are working for the company. So I think that was the point, Linda, that you're making right on there. But thank you, Julia, for being on here as a recruiter. Is there anything you wanted to add to that conversation from a recruiting standpoint, Julia?
No, I think that's absolutely true. We're hired by the client. It's cui bono, or however they say it in Latin, who benefits. We get paid by the client, and so it may not sound fair or right, but our jobs are to fill opportunities with the best people for that particular opportunity. So in terms of checking in or building relationship, I just be careful to always have that in mind, that our first responsibility is to the client, which doesn't mean we don't like candidates, don't want to deal with them. Of course we do. I love some of my candidates more than my clients, but my first responsibility is to fill the role for who's paying me. So
good point. Thank you for clarifying that, Julie. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to keep this moving along here. And the next question I see is from Sandra. And Sandra is asking, on your LinkedIn profile under the heading of organizations, how can I remove associated with, showing that it is associated with your former employer? And as we are doing this, Sandra, I'm not sure if you want me to share your profile, or I could share mine if you'd prefer.
Actually, you can share mine because obviously that's the example.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to ask permission for that first.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, so I'm first going to go to her profile. And then when I demonstrate this technique, I'm going to go into my profile since I won't be able to do it from yours. So first I want to point out what you were referring to. And if I scroll down to, where's it at? I keep moving things around. So right here, so you have organizations and it says associated with the company. Now, what I think you can do, and I'm doing this a little bit on the fly live here. So let me try to do this adjustment from my profile. So let me click on the pencil icon next to organizations, and then the pencil icon next to the role associated with. So there's a drop down right here. So you would need to change it to a different role. So I'm going to change mine to my current role, and then I'm going to click on save. And it's still associated with my company, Meller Marketing, but it's a different role. So yes, you could, Sandra, you just need to click on that pencil icon next to the edit organization. And then where it says associated with, click on the drop down, and you'll just need to change the role for the employer. Does that make sense?
Oh, gosh, thank you. That's one little detail I missed. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. I have it on screen right now, and I'll make that adjustment.
You're welcome. And on that point too, I want to remind everybody, LinkedIn is confusing. That's literally why I have a job. I don't work for LinkedIn. I'm an independent marketing consultant, but I specialize in LinkedIn. And there's a lot of these little nuances on the platform. I think the powers that be at LinkedIn think, well, it's intuitive. People will figure it out. No, it's not. It's confusing a lot of times. And don't feel bad about asking questions or be shy about asking questions, because there's a good chance that that question that was just asked by Sandra is going to help somebody else on the call here today. So don't be shy about raising your hand, asking questions. We are here to help you. So we're going to move along. We have a question from Claudette. Nice to see you, Claudette. And it says, suggestions to negotiating counteroffer during dynamic industry conditions in automotive with the UAW strike, number of layoffs escalating. Wow, good question on here. So I think your question, Claudette, is it should you still negotiate, try to counteroffer, or should you accept? And if you do, understanding the industry conditions, how should you proceed? Is that fair to say? And Claudette, are you able to unmute yourself?
Yes. Yeah. So it's basically, I'm in that situation, and the positions that I'm applying for are under where I came from, and was initially, when I was on the job hunt, going to consider counteroffering, but now I'm monitoring the automotive industry and the strikes and the announcements with other suppliers laying off, et cetera, the ripple effect. I'm not sure if I should counteroffer. So I guess that's the question or guidance I'm looking for, is for my specific industry, is it appropriate timing to counteroffer and just accept it, or what do you recommend?
All right, Mindy, Linda, Joey, what do you think? Any responses, any advice here? Linda, go ahead. Linda, you're muted. If you could unmute yourself.
Why I
Thank
do
you for
that?
muting,
Don't
but
do that again. No problem. So quick question, Claudette. When you say counteroffer, are you talking about negotiating with the person that you have the offer with, or a counteroffer with your current employer?
No, with the offer that you received from a
Got it.
different company.
Even in this market, and even with all of the strikes and all the people looking for work, it never hurts to go back and say, I was hoping for more in line with. And the phrase that I usually use is, now that based on what I now know and what I've been able to demonstrate that I can bring, I was looking for something more in line with. It gives you not a firm, I have to have something else in order to do this, but it's that wiggle room. Even if you were asked up front what kind of salary you'd be looking for, because now you know more than you did and they know more than you did. And it's also, how close can you get? If they can't, you understand, and then you can try and negotiate something else. But you'd never have a problem if you try and negotiate one time with that employer. I wouldn't keep going back.
Okay, thank you. Very helpful.
Min, did you want anything to that?
Yes, and I think I'm unmuted. Yes, I agree with Linda about it doesn't hurt to try, but also keep in mind that it's not just salary that you can negotiate. Sometimes you can negotiate lots of other things that are in a package. It could be healthcare, it could be PTO time, paid time off, it could be bonus structures. There's so many things that you may want to look at, because they may be tied to a salary band for your particular role. They may not have flexibility. And knowing that is really important. Also, really important to know what the market will bear, and using certain websites to find that, what the going rate is for your location and your type of role. Those are very important data to have before you go into negotiations. So you just have to think it through a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll add on to that too. I love that we always have like different points of view on these things, but I'm going to just confirm what Mindy and Linda both said. I think it's okay to say, to ask the question. And I hear where you're coming from too, Claudette, in that the industry is in a volatile position. You don't want to be seen as a difficult person, especially a difficult candidate coming in. You always want to think about negotiation should be a win-win for both of you, for you as the incoming employee, but also for the employer to gain you to their team. So my technique, I guess, regardless of where we are in the economic cycle, has always been, when they give you a job offer, we're going to give you X dollars, X benefits, blah, blah, blah. Thank you so much. I am so delighted to hear this. I've been so, I've really appreciated the chance to chat with you. I'd like to think about this for a bit and then get back to you. And could I call you tomorrow? So gain some time to think about what you want to say. And then when you come back to start the negotiation, again, Linda, I just wanted to thank you so much for the offer. I'm really excited about this opportunity. I do have some questions, one of which regarding the salary. Is that firm? So I'm just going to kind of put that out into the air. Is that firm? And then I'm going to stop talking. I'm not going to explain myself. I'm not going to whiffle waffle and beat it, but I'm just going to say, is that firm? And then I'm going to wait for Linda to respond. And Linda might say, yes, it is. With the market conditions and everything right now, we don't have any flexibility there. Then my next counter might be, okay, how about vacation time? At this point in my career with 25 years of experience, 7 days or maybe 5 days or 10 days is really not what will be the standard. I'm seeing more 15 days. Is that flexible? So then you can move on to other points that you want to address. Linda also might say, you say, are you firm on the salary? She might say, what do you have in mind? Or she might say, what are you looking for? And then you want to be prepared with your industry research. This is not what do I, Brenda Meller, want to make, nor is it based on what I have made in the past. It's based on, my response is based on what I believe the market value to be. So then I say something like, well, I've done my research and I've looked at salary.com, payscale.com, Indeed.com, or I name off a couple places, and it looks like a marketing director in Metro Detroit with the number of years of experience that you're looking for, with a bachelor and a master's degree, should be paid between 90 and 110,000. And I'm just making that up. And maybe they offered me 85, making that up again. I'm hoping we could at least cross into the early 90s to stay in line with what the industry is paying. I am still talking to a couple of other companies, but I really would like to join the team at your organization. And then I'm going to stop talking. And I am still talking to companies, right? I'm not going to lie about that, but I want to let them know I'm marketable and I'm doing my research. If they say, yeah, we are really firm on that, then you've at least, put that conversation out there. So what do you think about that approach, Claudette? Does that help you?
I love it. It's very helpful.
Okay, very good. Joey, did you want to add to that? I saw that your hand was raised as I was talking here.
I just want to beat a dead horse, if I may. So this is going to be quick, right? I used to coach soccer and used to teach the kids since the day they were born. There's no guarantee if you shoot, you score, Claudette. There's no guarantee. I guarantee you don't shoot, you won't score. So you have nothing to lose by doing what Brenda and Linda and Mindy suggested in some way, shape, or form. Because here's the thing: if you don't, and you get the job, and you're at 85, as Brenda was alluding to, now you're behind the 8 ball as you re-enter the industry, right? So that's not good. If they don't even take you, okay, that's bad. But you know what? As Brenda said at the beginning of this broadcast, there's a reason for everything. And if it didn't work out, somehow, some way, there's a reason. I can't explain it. Nobody can. But you got to take a chance. Otherwise, you won't know. So you got to take a chance. Done. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Joey, for closing us off there. All right. Great question, Claudette. Thank you so much for asking. I'm going to keep us moving along here. I saw our next question coming in from Miranda. Miranda asks if a recruiter, I'm sorry. We're going to go Cindy first and then Miranda. Cindy says, if you apply for a job on LinkedIn and then you see the recruiter views your profile, should you message them right away? Or how long should you wait until you reach out to them? Ooh, I have some good thoughts on this. I'm going to start. I'm going to ask our all-stars if you have anything to add, please raise your hand. I'll call on you next. So here's what I would do, Cindy. If you've applied for a job at a company on LinkedIn, then you see the recruiter from that company has viewed your profile. What I would do is I would look at their profile on LinkedIn. I would invite them to connect. I'm not in the first step. I'm not going to mention that I applied for the job. I'm going to hold back on that. I'm going to look at their profile and I'm going to say, hi, Joey. We haven't met yet, but I see that we're both in Metro Detroit and we share several common connections in the technology industry or whatever it is, including Linda Brubaker. I might mention somebody by name, or maybe I'm lucky and I have a friend who is an employee of the company. So I might name drop somebody, including Mary Dietz, and maybe Mary works for the company where I'm applying. Let's connect on LinkedIn. Then if and when the recruiter accepts my connection request. By the way, the recruiter probably knows why you're inviting them to connect. but the recruiter may also appreciate the fact that you didn't like jump all over them and say, here's my resume and talk to me and I'm desperate and I need a job, right? The recruiter may appreciate the fact that you held back a bit and that you're kind of demonstrating that you're a good professional, a good networker. Once they accept, they may or may not message you. They may message you and say, hey, I saw that you applied for the marketing director job. Here's where we're at in the process. They may not at all, but if they do accept it, then I would message them back. Thanks, Joey, for accepting my LinkedIn invitation. I'm not sure if you're aware or not, but I have applied for a marketing director position at your company. I'm wondering if you might have any insight into the timeline for this process. And I asked a soft question. I didn't say, notice me, interview me now. Can I send you my resume? I kind of just said, hey, do you have any insight into the timeline for the process? I know they're the recruiter. They know why I'm asking the question. But again, I'm just trying to get them talking back to me at this point. Now, others may take a more direct approach in the process, but I am more about the relationship building process, getting them to accept an invitation. You now open up the messaging inbox so you can message them unlimited, but being respectful of having that door open for you. That's my take on it. Joey, do you want to add something to that?
Definitely. I mean, you go back to what Linda and Julia said before. They don't care about you. They care about themselves. And you need to understand that. Even when you're in sales, the customer or the client doesn't care about you. All they care about is themselves and the issues that they're dealing with. So to Brenda's point, if you reach out to these people that are looking at you, be interested in them. Don't be groveling. Don't be saying, like she said, look at me, look at me. Yeah, I've seen you. I've looked at your profile. So be interested in what they're all about and come up with a way to be somebody who can help as opposed to grovel. You don't want to be groveling. It's because they don't care about you. They don't. Did I say that already? They don't care about you. They don't care about you. They care about their issues. Can you help them with their issues? If you can, then they'll talk to you more. But if you can't, if they see you coming on too strong, you're going to scare them away.
Yeah, that's a good point. I always feel like when Joey starts talking, I need to add the caveat. Guys, Joey is from like Jersey, New York. I am from the Midwest. I'm always going to use a slightly different, I always feel like I must say apologize for my friends from New York and New Jersey because you're so direct and I love it. But sometimes it might come across as not critical, but I love that you get in there, Joey, and you shake us up and you're like, don't be desperate. So it's a really good point. And to add on to that too, Joey, you're not the only candidate whose profile they're looking at, nor are you the only candidate who's messaging this recruiter saying, notice me, notice me, notice me. So if you are using a different approach than every other candidate out there, if they kind of feel like this person's a little bit more professional who gets networking and things like that, there's a better likelihood they're going to accept your invitation. Right. I think that's kind of the point you're making, right, Joey? Right.
And along those lines, Brenda, and I talk about this all the time, is that if you can apply to Indeed.com, Dice.com. I mean, you're one of a gazillion people applying for a job. If, however, somebody you know can walk your resume into the hiring manager's office, now out of the 500 people, you're one of maybe 2 or 3 that have had that person support you or I don't know what the word is, sponsor you, right? So now all of a sudden you've raised your visibility without doing anything. But you've got somebody in the inside or somebody even on the outside who knows you, who knows them, and off you go. You got to distinguish yourself from everybody else.
Good point. All right. Thank you, Joey. Okay. So that question came in from, who was it? I'm blanking on the person right now. The person who asked that question, was that helpful for you?
Yeah. Just the timeline though. Like, do you do it? Do you reach out that same day? Do you wait a day?
Anyway. Strike while the iron's hot. And because I'll be honest with you, as I grow older, I don't know if this happens to all of you, but as I grow older, my memory, not so good. The short-term memory, not so good. Like random details I remember, like randomly, right? But like things like whose profile I looked at this day, tomorrow I will have forgotten whose profile I looked at. So I would say, Cindy, do it the same day. And it's not like we're playing hard to get here. If you're on LinkedIn, you happen to notice that they've looked at your profile while you're in the session, do it right then and there. Because right then and there is when they're doing candidate sourcing. And if they get a nice message from Cindy, an invitation to connect, they might be like, oh, I think I just looked at her profile. Like I remember right now, tomorrow I will have forgotten that I looked at your profile. It might take me a minute to remember. So I would just go in, especially if you're using more of this professional relationship building approach, Cindy. I don't think you have anything to lose. What do you think about that?
Okay.
Give it a try. All right, awesome. Thank you so much for asking the question and for being on the call here for us today. All right, let's go on to the next question. Miranda. Miranda, you're asking, if a recruiter asks for my availability on Wednesday, can I follow up on Friday or should I wait a week? Miranda, are you able to unmute yourself? Give us a little bit more context to what you're looking for here.
Yep. So I was contacted by a recruiter about a role that they currently have. So they sent me an email and it was like a job alert kind of email. So I responded to it and I sent in my resume, portfolio, and the times that I had available. And so that was about, I think it was on Wednesday. And so today's Friday, but I haven't received a response yet. So I'm just wondering if I should like wait until Monday or I want to further update my resume today.
Okay.
And then send it back.
So let me ask you just to clarify on this question, Miranda. So they, on Wednesday of this week, they said, hey, what is your availability for an interview? And did you only give them Friday as an option, or what, did you give them a couple days and times as an option?
Well, I had availability that day. So I mentioned that, and also the next day, but I didn't say anything about the end of the week. So maybe I should have.
Okay. And did they say, what is your availability in the next few days? Or what was the question that they asked you? Just what is your availability?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have some thoughts on this. I want to see if Joey or Linda, I think Mindy had to drop off, but I want to see if any of you have some thoughts on this. I want you to know that you as a job seeker are in control of your job search. You're not at their mercy, and your time is just as valuable as their time. Now, you definitely want to be respectful, but you should have the expectation that your time is valuable as well. So if on Wednesday they've said, what is your availability for an interview? And I'm going to put in parentheses in the next few days, because I kind of think that's what they're asking for. And I've replied back and I've already said to them on Wednesday, I have some time later on this afternoon, as well as on Thursday from X to X. And then from there, they're not responding back. Today is Friday. Have you connected with them yet on LinkedIn, Miranda? Okay, so I would connect with them on LinkedIn. Hi, Adam. You may recall that you reached out to me on Wednesday asking for my availability. Let's connect on LinkedIn. And then after they accept it, if they accept it, then you can get their email address and try to email them, because maybe their LinkedIn inbox is getting flooded from candidates or things like that. That's what I might try. If it's Friday and they didn't respond to your Wednesday, Thursday, I would probably wait until early next week to reach out again. Because you've already given them your availability for Wednesday and Thursday. They didn't take you up on that. I don't know that I would message today. I'm going to see if anyone else has any different advice for you. I see Linda, your hand is raised. So Linda, what do you think? Give her a second here. Linda, are you able to speak? Looks like she's frozen right now.
Sorry, yes. No, I've got it now. So yes, I agree. Reaching out is a great thing. And what I would do, especially since you're talking about revising your resume, is that I would, when you reach out, I've had an opportunity. I just revised my resume. Here's my newest version. Here's my availability for this week. I'm really excited to talk with you.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, sound good. Does anyone else have any advice for Miranda? If not, we'll keep us moving here. Thank you for that, Linda. We appreciate it. All right, Miranda, was that helpful for you?
Yes. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you for asking the question. All right, we got about 10 minutes to go. I do want to remind everyone that I am going to be doing a book giveaway today. I'm going to hold a copy of my book right now here. It's Social Media Pie, How to Enjoy a Bigger Slice of LinkedIn. Must be present to win. We'll be doing this at the very end of the call. If you want a chance to win a copy of the book, you've got to go into chat right now and type in the word book. And then I'm going to use Wheel of Names to do a drawing. Must be present to win. If you're not on when I do the book drawing and I call your name, then you're not going to get the chance to win the book. We're going to give it to someone else. Okay. Wow. The chat is like lighting. And she's here today to help me. So I'm going to multitask a little bit. This is great though. All right. So we're going to move on to do maybe a few more questions here, and then we will do the book drawing. Let me just go back up to the top of the chat here and see what the next question is. So we had Claudette. Carl made a good point too. Carl said, seems highly unlikely they will rescind the offer just because you tried to negotiate. I think that's a great point, Carl, especially if you do so respectfully. If you're saying, hey, is that offer firm or is that negotiable? If you're kind of asking the question, I think they're gonna respect the fact that you know your value and the market value for the position. And if you don't ask, the answer is always no. So I think that's a really good point there. All right, so let's see what else on questions in here. David Ball has a success story. David, going on with you, sir?
Hey, good
David.
morning.
There
It's
you go.
David. Can you hear me?
Now we can. Go ahead.
Wonderful. I have a very unusual success story, but I think it's something that everyone can kind of relate to, and it just gives some very big perspective. Okay, so we're all busy, as me, spending a whole bunch of time looking for a job, and anything that happens that stops that progress, you get very irritated about. And that happened to me. As you know, we have been living in the oven here in Dallas-Fort Worth, and so it's been very irritating, and it won't surprise somebody to find out, that, oh, your AC is going down. You cannot live without your AC here in Dallas-Fort Worth. And so just 2 days ago, that happened to me, and I rent, but again, it's just more of this, another irritating problem, right, that we all get distracted about. And so I missed a job fair because I had to wait for the AC repairman, and it was just so irritating. But then, so he shows up and everything, and I was so irritated up until the time that when he examined my air conditioning furnace, that the exhaust pipe that is supposed to be connected to take fumes out of my living space was disconnected, and somehow had come disconnected from the exhaust pipe that leads to the outside. So he says, well, that's not good, because the first time that your furnace comes on, carbon monoxide will seep into your place from that open gap, and you probably won't survive. And so guess what? We were probably a week away from, because like this morning, it was a chilly 65 degrees this morning. And so some people's had their thermostat set on to heat or AC this time of year, and would just come on automatically. So I guess that irritating thing that I thought was so irritating probably saved my life. So I just want people to kind of take their perspective that when something happens, and this is a big thing with like what Joey talks about too, is that, man, you got to go with it and just realize that you are being looked over by God. And that is a very, very important thing to do. Sometimes those irritating things keep you from some very big disaster. So that's my perspective. I think it's a big success.
Absolutely. And by the way, I want to give a quick plug right now for, I think we all have like smoke detectors in our houses. And they always tell you like change the smoke detector batteries, with the time changes. You should also get a carbon monoxide detector in your house if you don't already have one. Years and years ago, I was watching an episode of ER, and it was kind of like a public service announcement episode that they did, but the family had a carbon monoxide leak in their house. And I think everyone, and it was scary. It like chilled me to the bone. Like when I watched that story, it was such a scary thing to see that happen, because it is odorless and it's tasteless. And it happened in the middle of the night, and the family was getting headaches and they were getting sick. And this is all fictitious, it's a fictitious family. But the fact that it happened, like got a carbon monoxide detector the next day, and it's plugged into our wall. So highly, highly recommend that. Thank you, David, for sharing the story. You never know when you're sharing those stories, whose life that might help. So highly recommend that. So thank you for sharing. All right. And you also gave me time, David, to load up the prize wheel. So let me share this up on screen right now. It's a really cool site. It's called wheelofnames.com. I saw a couple of you put your names in more than once, and I don't know if you did that on purpose to try to stack the deck or accidentally, but I think I got you only in here one time each. So we'll do the drawing. We've got about 5 minutes to go, and we will do the drawing. I want to see if maybe we can take one more question before we do so. So let me just stop the share right now, go back into the chat.
Brenda, there was one more question, Brenda. I don't remember who put it in though, but I did see it.
There was a few more, I think, in here too. Thank you, Joey. I miss Julia and she's on her mobile and she told me I'm probably not going to be able to help to the same extent. And I said, totally get it. You know, life happens and whatnot.
Yeah, Kyle Walker.
Yeah. Okay. Kyle says, what other resources can I use to find new opportunities pertaining to my desired job title? I have tried LinkedIn jobs, Indeed, company websites, everything. I just came from a business networking event this morning. So we're going to do a group, I'm going to say brainstorming, but like an idea dump inside chat. So I want everyone to put one idea for Kyle inside chat right now. What other resources can I use to find new job opportunities? By the way, this isn't going to just help Kyle. This is going to help all of you. So when you are looking for a job, you definitely should be applying to the job boards, right? That is an important thing to do, but you should also be leveraging and growing your LinkedIn network. So that's going to be my piece of advice for you, Kyle. I'm going to tell you this. I want you to look up other people who are in your targeted job title, in your targeted geographic area, and invite them to connect with you. When you do so in the invitation, you're going to say something like this. Hi, Neil, we haven't met yet, but I see that we're both involved in the marketing industry in Metro Detroit. Let's connect on LinkedIn. You're going to try to send out maybe 10 of these a week to people who are in your targeted job title, in your targeted geographic area. Now, maybe about half of them are going to respond. And once they do accept your invitation, you're going to say, thanks, Neil, for accepting my invitation. I'm currently in career transition, looking for my next marketing director role. Are you aware of any events in the area that might be beneficial for me to attend? And I'm asking a soft question here. I'm not asking Neil to refer jobs to me or to hire me at his company, but I might just be asking him, let me know if you're aware of any events in the area that might be beneficial for me while I'm in career transition. Now, Neil might say, hey, have you checked out the Detroit Economic Club? They've got a big marketing conference that's coming up. Or Neil might say, have you heard of Toastmasters? Maybe check out their group or things like that. Neil might also say, I'm not aware of anything, but I'll keep you in mind if I do hear of anything. And then, you know, time goes on. There are many Neils out there in the market in Metro Detroit who are marketing directors, and occasionally they are approached by recruiters. And Neil might be approached by a recruiter and he might say, you know what, I'm really happy in my job. I'm not interested. But Joey just connected with me not too long ago, and it sounds like he's looking for a job. Can I introduce you? So you're now building your VIP referral network to include people who are in the job market, or not in the job market, who are in your local market, but in the category that you are in. So that's one piece of advice. Again, I want to encourage others to offer additional advice for Kyle into the comments as well. I'm going to see if I can read a couple of your pieces of advice that are on here. Sandra says, go to your college, university. Great advice, Sandra. And I want to remind everyone, whenever you earned your degree, whether it was last month, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, go to your college, university, go to their career services department and to their alumni group. Ask both of them, what services or events do you offer to alumni who are in career transition? Sometimes they will offer services for free, career strategy, resume review, mock interviews, placement on their jobs board or whatever, you know, or uploading your resume to the jobs board. Other times they may charge you. You might have to join the Alumni Association to get access to those benefits. They may offer alumni events as well. So that is a great piece of advice. Mimi says local networking groups. And if, by the way, if you don't know of any, go post on LinkedIn and say something like, while, you know, you can announce it or not, you could say, while I'm looking for my next opportunity as a marketing director in Metro Detroit, I'm looking for networking groups local in Macomb County. Do you have any advice on groups I should attend? You could do that as a public post on LinkedIn. People will reply back. They love helping people in career transition, especially if they are a member of a group that they feel could benefit you. All right, Joey says, use your network, especially people that service other people. Joey, did you want to clarify a little bit on that point?
Everybody you know knows 250 people you don't know. And those 250 people know another 250. So it won't be long before you're connected to the whole world. Now, you should be talking to people that service clients like your auto mechanic, your hairstylist, your doctors, your accountant, your lawyers, people that have clients, know people. And they need, so the people that you know need to know your story so that they can become your sales force, your feet on the street, if you will. All right. If you look at your career and you look at the people you've worked for, the chances are great that your hiring managers with people you did not know. It was only because you knew somebody that introduced you to them. And that I think is the golden ticket. It's not applying to Indeed.com and Monster.com, like I said before. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but don't rest your laurels on that, because you're just one of a gazillion people applying to those sites. But if your hairstylist knows somebody in a company where you want to work, oh my goodness, the possibilities are endless.
Awesome. Thank you, Joey. Okay, we are at time. So we're going to do the drawing before we drop the call here today. So let me pull that in. Julia, I did see your text saying you emailed me the names, but I think I got the bulk of them at the time that I asked for people to drop book in there. So I'm going to live on the edge here and assume we've got what's inside here in the interest of time. All right, so I'm using a website called wheelofnames.com, really great site for drawing, and you win an autographed copy, including shipping, of my book, Social Media Pie. I'm going to click on the wheel. I'm going to hold up my hands just like they do in Vegas. So I'm not cheating by clicking on the space bar to stop the wheel for somebody I know. This is automatically randomized, must be present to win. You can actually tell that I typed this in because I missed a T in Christine's name. But Christine, you are the winner of the book. So Christine, here's what I'm going to do. And by the way, I need you to email me, brenda@mellermarketing.com, with an address where I could send this book. And I'll just say book, what is today? 10/6. So Christine, I put your name on a little Post-it note on the top here, and I will be dropping this in the mail to you, but I do need to get a mailing address where I can send this. Let me just take Miranda off of the screen here real quick. There we go. So Christine if you could please email me, brenda@mellermarketing.com. And let me just do some quick final comments for all of you before you get to your weekend here. There we go. All right. First thing is, I want you to know that this time is temporary in your life right now. You're in career transition right now, but you will not be in career transition forever. You're like you're the middle of an Oreo cookie. Let me describe this. In between successes, the job that you came from was the cookie on the one side. The next job is the job you'll be going to next, your next dream job. That's the cookie on the other side. Right now, my friend, you are the frosting in the middle of the Oreo cookie. You are in between successes is where you are right now. And this is temporary. You're only going to be here for a short time. I want you to know that. I also want you to know that we are here for you the first Friday of every month. So come on, we're on the Zoom call here. If you're not able to make it, we do offer this as a broadcast onto YouTube and you can watch it later. So do keep that in mind. There's also a playlist of past calls. They will be on there. So you can watch the playbacks for past calls as well. We're always getting questions from different job seekers just like you. So you'll find some really great nuggets and value inside there. Okay. Another thing that you can do, I want you to help to pay it forward. So if you've enjoyed this phone call, the next time you see someone posting on LinkedIn and telling people they are in career transition, struggling with their job search, looking for leads or opportunities, just tag me into comments and just say something like, do the @ at Brenda Meller may have some resources to help. That's your way of kind of winking to me. And I will wink back and I'll go into the comments on that very same post. And I'll say you're invited to come out to our monthly Friday VIP job seekers group. Okay, so it's a great way of helping others that are on the platform, informing them of the value of the group here, and also making sure that nobody feels alone in this process. All right. Okay, with that said, I want to wish you all a wonderful weekend. I want to thank the All-Stars so much for helping me on the call here today. Joey, Linda, Mindy, and Julia was helping out as well in the background. Congratulations to Christine on your book. I'll get that in the mail to you as soon as I get the mailing address from you. By the way, if you wanted a copy of the book and you didn't win, you can buy it. You can get an autographed copy on my website, or you can go out to Amazon. I think it's like $19.99 plus sales tax. So either versions of that. And beyond that, I want to remind you, I forgot to do my introduction at the beginning. I do offer one-to-one LinkedIn coaching. I do have a couple of online courses, one of which is called Boot Camp with Brenda. I know a couple of my students are on the call here today. We'll be opening the doors for that probably in January or February again next year. But if you're interested in learning more about the services I provide, this is what I do for a living. If you're looking for free advice, I'll have you come out to the Friday calls. If you want to work with me one-on-one, absolutely, that's a service that I do provide for you. All right, with that said, before you leave, if you would like to download a copy of the chat, I'm going to remind you of the instructions to do so right now. In the bottom of your chat where it says to everyone, there's a couple little icons, one of which is 3 dots. If you click on that, you should see an option that says Save Chat. Now, I did see at least one person saying I'm on mobile and I can't get it. If you would just post into chat before you leave and say, could someone email it to me? Somebody will do that for you. Okay, so do that before you leave here. And then we will be here again in November. So remember, first Friday every month, just put it on your calendar. If you've registered for one, it's going to be the same Zoom link month after month to come in and join us again. All right. I'm going to go ahead and end the YouTube right now. I'm going to take my dog out to the backyard for a quick potty break. I'm going to come back and I will end the Zoom. And with that said, have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for being on. Great to see you. And again, my goal is not to see you, not because I don't like you, but because my goal is to help to get you back to work. Have a great weekend, everyone.